Hello, and welcome to Why Do Anti-Feminists Hate Feminism? Part 2, Series 2, Number 2? This is the second video I'm looking at. It's not my second video that I've done on the topic, so it's not really the second part. You get the idea.
No, I get what you're saying. You're saying it's like volume 2, right? Like, like in a comic book series, you have volume 1 with 13 issues, and volume 2 has 15. I get you. I got what you're saying. You can continue.
Why Do Anti-Feminists Hate Feminism? Subtitled, Sargon's Inability to Research. Because that's basically what this is. Just a big documentation of how god-awful that man is at doing research.
If I may ask, my friend, why do you only comment on what Sargon has to say? You know he's not the only, anti-feminist that exists, right? You ever think that maybe you should be a little more diverse with your criticism? I'm just asking. Yeah, it's your show, so. Yeah.
Just depressingly bad. Before we start, I'd like to reflect on the previous series by taking a look at some of the more well-reasoned, amiable, legitimate criticisms of my videos. I'm just joking. I'm just pulling your leg. It's just a bunch of bullshit flung forth from the pulsating arsehole that is the manosphere.
Despite your smugness, I like you. You obviously understand how to have fun with this whole internet thing. You're funny. You're wrong on a lot of things, but you are entertaining to watch. Oh man, if only more more feminists were like you, it would make my job more enjoyable. Instead of all those pretty white women who really think their lives are more difficult and take themselves too seriously. It's really tough to take them seriously, even though they take themselves seriously. But you're funny. I like you. Continue.
Take a look. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Right, enough of that. Let's get on to this pulsating arsehole. Totally awesome, cool guy that I definitely want to be friends with.
Welcome to part 2 of Why Does Everyone Hate Feminism? The first reason that people hate feminism is that feminists hate men. And they hate men because of something they call the patriarchy.
Actually, I have to somewhat disagree with Sargon here on this point. From what as I understand it, from listening to feminists talk, it doesn't really seem like feminists hate men because of the patriarchy. It seems really more than anything else, feminists hate men because they can't be men. It's more like, I guess as Freud would say, penis envy. If you ever listen to a lot of feminists talk, they're constantly comparing their success to the measures of which men compare their success to. Never the natural beauty that is femininity. They always want to try to obtain the strength that is masculinity because they themselves don't like what they are. It seems more that the patriarchy is the mechanization of their oppression. However, it really seems their hatred of men comes more from the fact that they can't be men. At least as far as I understand it from listening to them talk. Yeah, which again, it's just more a slight disagreement there. But continue.
Of course, before we can go any further, we need to define our terms. What is a patriarchy? Now, any normal person would probably go and look for the standard English definition. So when a feminist says to the uninitiated that we live in a patriarchy, they're thinking that a patriarchy is a form of social organisation in which the father is the supreme authority in the family, clan or tribe, and descent is reckoned in the male line, with the children belonging to the father's clan or tribe. And by the second definition, this produces a society, community or country based on this social organisation.
If you type patriarchy definition into Google, literally the second definition that comes up right at the top of the fucking page is a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it.
Well, two things here, my friend. For starters, Sargon was making the point that the vast majority of people do not look at patriarchy by that definition, especially if you go look at the dictionary. That was Sargon's point. That's what he was saying. He was saying normally that's what people believe. Because, well, it is. Second point I have to make there, Michael, is on the patriarchy theory itself. Now, you say a system in which men hold the most power, but what power are you talking about in particular? Because if you're talking about sexual power, that is, women have the monopoly on sexual power. I mean, like, especially if you're an attractive woman. Like, I mean, like, just the mere fact that you're a woman, you've already got sexual power. But when you're attractive, oh, Lord have mercy, the world is your oyster if you look somewhat good. In that case, sexual relations between men and women would be a matriarchy, since, well, women pick men from most of the time. It's pretty much what's going on. Women pick men. However, if in terms of economic power, you could, I guess you could make a case, no, not really. You can make a case that a lot of men with economic power, or a lot of people with economic power are men. However, to say that that is exclusively the realm of men would be foolishness, considering the fact that, well, it's not. There are multiple powerful women who have lots of money. But you'd also have to contend with the fact that the vast majority of men don't have economic power. So it's really on what you mean when you say power. Because in some certain area, in terms of physical power, men certainly have, it's certainly a patriarchy. Yes, certainly physicality is male dominated for the most part. Sexual power is female dominated. You see, there's different areas between being a man and a woman in which we hold different powers, which balance each other out. Economically speaking, there are more poor men than there are rich men. So how is it that men hold most of the power when the vast majority of men actually don't have power? I'm just saying, I mean, the word power itself has so many different contexts to use in. You gotta be really specific when you're saying we live in a patriarchy. Because, well, we don't. I'm just saying.
I went to the link that he provided of his definition that he found, and this was the third definition on the list. But he cut it off before he put it into his video. What a deceptive prick. Just the biggest, deceptivest prick you've ever met. God, dude, later on in the video, he does this. Oh no, wait, I don't want to ruin it. It's awesome. He one-ups himself. He 10-ups himself. You just wait. It's delicious.
Like I said, my man, I like you. You're a very entertaining person to watch. If this would have been like Savannah Brown, she would have been all pretentious. You know, even though she's all pale and beautiful, it just would have been boring as all fucking hell to watch her do this video. But you and your carrot top hair running around licking your lips, that's some entertaining shit. I don't have any counter argument at this point. Just go ahead. I just want you to know I am enjoying this.
So basically everything from this point on is irrelevant because he's attacking the wrong definition of patriarchy.
No. At that current point in the video, Sargon was saying that most people understand the patriarchy as he defined it, which is true. He's not wrong.
But he makes a bunch of stupid claims anyway, so I'll go ahead and point out why those are wrong. Again, he should pay me to be his editor. Like that's ever gonna happen.
Yeah, a man can dream.
This is going to sound quite counterintuitive to anyone who lives in the Western world, and they'll probably take to Google to see if they can find any kind of evidence to corroborate the feminist assertion that we live in a patriarchy. The first thing that they're going to discover is that marriage rates are sharply on the decline. The next thing they'll discover is that over a quarter of families are single-parent households, and the overwhelming majority of these households will be led by single mothers. They'll probably also discover that women control approximately 20% of the US government.
A whole 20%? Hide your kids! Hide your fucking husband! The women are taking over!
You know, judging by your accent, and I could be entirely wrong, I'm going to accept that I can be completely wrong. But simply judging by your dialect, I will make the assumption that you're not an American, okay? So, I'm going to explain this to you. Because if you were an American, I would probably mock you with the intensity of 1,000 suns, but you're not. So maybe you've never researched this, but see, here in America, we live in this system called a democratic republic. Now what that means, right, is that the majority, right, of the Senate, the House of Representatives, who represent the states of the people who will then vote for the senators, who vote for what the senators will then vote for, the majority of those people control what's going to happen. However, the rights of the minority will not be infringed. Of course, in a perfect system, this is the case, but, corruption and all of that, which goes way beyond the scope of this video. So because we live in a democratic republic, it matters not whether the senator has a penis or a vagina. What matters is whether they represent the will of the people in their state. So it doesn't matter how many women are senators, because they don't represent women, they represent their state. Now, it was at this critical point I thought about calling you a dumbass, but that wouldn't be fair because I don't think you're American. But on the off chance that you are American, you're a dumbass. Continue.
I googled this figure and I found something rather humorous. The US are number 69. 69. No, that's not the humorous part. That's not the humorous part. The US are number 69 in the top ranking percentage of women in their government list. Now, that's fine. But the US ranks behind such countries as Tajikistan.
So?
Pakistan.
So?
Afghanistan.
So?
And Uganda.
So?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The US have less percentage of women in their government than Tajikistan.
So?
Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Uganda. But no. Women in the West have nothing to complain about.
Oh no, women in the West have a lot to complain about. Now whether or not their complaints are warranted or should be heeded, well that's an entire discussion to be had. But no, they've got a lot to complain about. Just some of the shit they complain about I just don't think is really worth the effort of even attempting to correct. Because they're not problems.
They have equality. They've totally got equality.
No, women have superiority actually, in a lot of cases. I mean, they mostly have superiority because of men, which is a very interesting point, that a lot of the power women have comes from men. But that's a whole video unto itself now, isn't it? No, really it is. It's really interesting. If you actually stop and think about what the word empowered means, and then when you stop and actually think about, well, feminism in general, everything that they've accomplished, you would realize that all of the power that they have was given to them by men. Now, they probably wouldn't want to accept that because it would hurt their feelings, but, I mean, reality is, it exists independent of your feelings.
We should be focusing on the women in the East. Why aren't feminists fucking over there trying to solve all their problems? Because everyone over here is sorted. There's no problems at all. Fuck off, you dickhead.
I'm not gonna lie. I rather enjoyed watching Carrot Top's video. It's very entertaining, actually. I'm gonna be completely honest. However, I will say him wrapping us up was a little lackluster. But, we can't always have what we want. So, that's the end of his video, and subsequently, the end of mine. I think one thing that's very important to understand are terms, because I think they are a very important thing to discuss. Because when you say that men hold the majority of power, you have to ask a very important question. What kind of power? I mean, it's very obvious that men hold a great degree of physical power, and it should be pretty obvious to people who try to interact with women that they hold the vast majority of sexual power. And hell, women now even hold the power of life and death, so they can choose whether or not to have children or not. I mean, power is a very important word to understand if we're going to have discussions about the patriarchy, because where it stands, women can do a lot of things in our country, so I find it very hard to believe that they're disenfranchised, unless you're talking about a specific area, like physical strength, which is then something that just can't be overcome, unless you want to give women exoskeleton suits developed by Stark Industries. I don't know. So, like I said, man, with that being said, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comments below. And as always, have a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.